Hey, Jacob.
Hey, Don.
How do you shoot fireworks?
I have no idea. Or do we?
Wait, I think we probably do.
Well, let's talk about it then.
Yeah, so it's December, right? And New Year's is just around the corner. And a lot of times there are fireworks celebrations for the new year. And I thought it'd be cool if we, talked a little bit about how to photograph fireworks. And then if you have like friends or family nearby and you want to photograph them with the fireworks.
We have a very unique situation, though, that we live in Central Florida, where there are fireworks 365 days a year.
In multiple locations. It's true.
I live close enough that I can see them from my house. So I sometimes think we forget that, it's just not a big deal.
That's true.
But shooting fireworks it's not hard, but it's also extremely hard at the same time.
Sure.
Until you kind of figure out what you need to do.
Okay, so how did you learn? What was the first method you learned of how to photograph fireworks?
I was trained at Disney to shoot fireworks because, again, I had never shot a firework, obviously, photographed a firework. And we started with the old put it on a tripod, place a couple, and then bulb mode. So we would obviously have a flash on them, sometimes a light panel, depending on what you needed. And you would literally... old school, where you would get the clicker and attach it to the camera, and then you would literally put it in bulb, and you would hold it until you think you've got it.
Yeah. So, and you'd have your aperture, your ISO would be down to 100.
Yep.
Your aperture would be like f11 or higher, depending how sharp you want the fireworks to be. And then, you're holding that sometimes 2 seconds, 3 seconds.
It always felt like an experimentation every time. You're like, what am I going to get? Right. Oh, that's cool. That one didn't work.
Right. And you can use that whether you have people there or not.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you don't have... The reason I'm saying with flash is that we were photographing brides and grooms, couples, in front of fireworks. So therefore, we needed... Obviously, if you're going to hold an F11 for a 10-second exposure... The problem that I always had with those is that your couple had to stand exactly still. There was no room for any kind of movement, playfulness. Don't move.
Yeah. Well, the problem I had is depending on what location you're in, there could be too much ambient light.
That's true too.
To get away with that. So normally if you're photographing the couple like that and you have flash, that flash is only firing, typically you do rear curtain sync, right? So it's like at the very end of the exposure, you're lighting them up. So hopefully you're just getting what they look like in that second and that they're in focus because you set the focus before you started. But if there were like street lamps or like big fire lanterns.
What are you talking about? Is something specific?
Nearby, then there's too much ambient light for a 10-second exposure. You were still getting light on them. And then you got the little like ghosty movements just from them breathing. Like no one can hold perfectly still for 10 seconds or 5 seconds or whatever it is.
And even with the flash, hope. What am I gonna say? Even if you're hoping that the flash will freeze them, which it should, still, when you're doing a 5-second exposure, every little bit shows. But the plus side, though, is you get these amazingly streamed fireworks. So, think of like a waterfall when you do a long exposure where you almost get that like cotton candy where it's flowing. It's same with the fireworks. You almost see the firework. You get the entire thing into a boom.
Yeah, my dad, I'll have to ask my dad if he'll let me show some of his pictures, but he has some amazing fireworks pictures. And it's exactly that. Like you see the whole trail going up and then it separates into like 3 little explosions.
Yeah.
Actually, fun story. For one of my dad's Christmas gifts, I got him a fireworks cruise at Epcot. So like the whole family came, my cousin came. There were 10 of us on a boat and they take you out into the lake. So you're like right between the UK and France.
It's a booze cruise
with chips and soda. But I did it because my dad loves photographing. Well, he likes doing a lot of photography, but loves photographing fireworks, and I thought it'd be a fun thing like we could try to do together. Except that the boat.
Yeah, you're on a boat.
Are moving.
It's a real boat.
So it was a little bit of a challenge, but he still got some really cool shots that he then photoshopped together, like layered together in Photoshop. So you get like a big chunk of the show with all the different,
Nice.
streams, detailed streams. And I've also gotten a cool shot using that method up on, in the Italy pavilion at Epcot, going upstairs on the building across from the water.
Yeah.
And then you see little
Little people. I had one of my favorite shots. I did a marketing shot though for Disney at Italy too, but I was just on the bridge. But it was during summer, so you know when it's like July something, and it's still a crack of daylight left at 9 p.m. And I have that first. Do you remember the old illuminations where it started with the streaking and then explode right in the middle? So I have that streak going across this little bit of sunset that's still left, and then it just explodes. But you see the entire thing.
Yeah.
It's so good. And of course there were some people there, so it's like model of like people watching it. But it was all designed for that photo, and it came out really nice.
Yeah. You can use a similar method if you're doing pictures, like not necessarily like sparkler pictures that we think of, like a sparkler exit at a wedding, but if people are trying to like light right with sparklers or any light source, like it would be a similar thing. You're going to be on bulb holding holding the shutter open until they're done.
Correct.
And you need to have like as minimal other light sources.
Yeah, that's the problem.
around.
Is you have to do it almost in the pitch black. We would bring a light panel to at least give us a focus point, because a lot of times you are shooting in pitch black, and I don't care your camera, it's going to have a hard time focusing.
Yeah.
But a lot of times too is we would lock down the focus as well. We'd get them and then just turn back to manual focus and don't touch it. And that's why a shutter release cable is so important, because even if you're trying to do bulb by just doing this, you're going to shake your camera. And again, we're dealing with 5-second, 10-second exposures. You got to be real careful.
Well, and that's where a really high aperture helps too, right?
Yeah.
Even if they move the tiniest bit, they're probably still going to be in focus because like 18 feet
Correct.
are in focus.
So I shot that way for probably 5 or so years. And then, I don't know about you, but one day I just kind of, not that I was tired of it, but I wanted more movement. I wanted more romance. I wanted more, because while the photos looked great, they just stood there. Like they're just like, you could get them to kiss, but like you kiss and don't move. So like, I don't know, I was missing that like connection, the vibe of just being together. So I switched it up. I went against the grain, which I don't know, at first I think people were like, that's not how we do it.
Right.
So I went to a more flash-based bulb where like I shoot roughly at around a 60th of a second. Usually at f3-ish, 3.5, 3.6, 4, somewhere around there. And a pretty high ISO, 1600 or so. And then again, I am flash on them, but that allows me to still get I'm still getting the fireworks in the background. I'm still getting big bursts. I'm not getting streaks,
Right.
but I'm getting big bursts. I'm getting some bokeh behind them. So when they explode, I'm getting those really cool bubbles. And it allows them to also move more too. I get way more different poses than I would just the other way, and I find to like that better now. And that's the primary way I shoot them.
Yeah, I must have just copied you. I think I just decided to do what you're doing because I was always so frustrated with like the ambient light impacting what I was trying to do. And you, like, how uncomfortable to be told, okay, don't move for a 15-minute fireworks show. Like,
and
try not to breathe too hard.
And let's be honest, like I would probably get, when we did it with the tripod, I'd probably get 5 really good usable photos. I mean, they were great, but now I can deliver 80. Like, I mean, not, but like, you know what I mean?
Well, and like, it's always good to know multiple ways to do things, right? But we've found ourselves in situations where we don't exactly know where the fireworks are going off.
Correct.
So if you set yourself up on a tripod and you guessed wrong
Yes.
of where the fireworks are going up, you're screwed.
You
and
are.
you need to then waste minutes of the fireworks show to like get in the right position. So the other thing I really liked is that it let me be off of a tripod because I could handhold at a 40th, 50th, 60th of a second.
Yep.
And then I could keep changing positions.
Correct.
Or like when we're on cruises and they have fireworks shows on the ship.
Yep.
The fireworks are going up over the ocean. You cannot like be perfectly ready and set for where it's going to be. And again, you're on a boat, so it's moving, so you can't count on a tripod to keep you steady.
It allows you to get low so you can shoot up and get big booms above them. You can shoot this, you can get high. With the tripod, once you set your spot, you were there. Because, I mean, yes, you could mess with it, but the show is going on. You don't really have time to...
Yeah.
You're going to miss the show. The
one thing with the, shooting like a wider aperture and a longer shutter or shorter shutters, oh my gosh.
Do we need to go back to school?
A wider aperture and faster shutter speed. Is that you need to be paying attention a little bit more to the show itself.
Yes.
Like when you hear the firework go, you have to like give yourself the time because you only get that like split second. Correct. And you want to make sure you're getting it at like the best.
You're basically like
in the
firework. Boom, 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 boom. Like that's what you're shooting. You're shooting right. For every one, you're shooting 10.
Yeah.
But
and you're gonna have like a 40% success rate. Like you just know you're gonna get moments where you're shooting because the couple looks cute, but like nothing happened, or the firework went off, but you were too tight and you missed the good part of the firework, or whatever the case may be. Or even if you don't have anyone you're photographing in the picture, you're just like coming upon a show somewhere, or you're just out at, your city's fireworks show for the New Year. I totally forgot what I was going to say.
Good, we're leaving this. I'm going to sit here and stare at you till you get it.
I'm never going to remember now.
If you're forgetting... I was gonna say, here, I'll save the podcast. Oh my god. Like we haven't done this in a while. I would say though, for couples, like what we're talking about right now is really my preferred way to photograph, is to be at a faster shutter speed, be more open, and then being able to shoot with some flash to freeze them a little bit. If I were just shooting fireworks on like a lake somewhere as a landscape, I'd probably still shoot it with a tripod where I don't have to worry about all the other issues. But when it comes to couples, which is kind of what we always tend to talk about because that's who we photograph.
Right.
My preferred way is the non-tripod way.
But even if I'm out somewhere and like I didn't know there was going to be a show, or like I'm somewhere where you can't bring a tripod or whatever, like I'll still shoot it this way.
If I'm not getting paid, I'm not photographing. that's I've been doing this for too long.
If it's a special occasion, I'll still bring a camera. Not the camera, not these cameras.
Okay.
But a camera.
All right. I'm going to be in the moment.
But it's still...
In the moment.
Sir.
I capture enough moments. When's my moment?
I'll follow you around and I'll capture them for you. Yeah. I'll still photograph that way because you can still get nice photos of a fireworks show even if you don't have a tripod.
Absolutely.
That's what I was trying to get at.
There it is.
That's what I was trying to get at when I totally forgot what I was saying.
Another reason why I switched to shooting it more, regular non-tripod style, I don't know what we're going to call it. I'm going to call it like ninja style. But we forget too, we're like fireworks photos, couple, how cool is this? Sometimes they want to see the show too.
Yeah.
And we get sometimes wrapped up in like, look at me the whole time, kiss. So a lot of times I'm able to like just turn around and watch it. And I can still get cute photos of them just snuggle with big booms behind them. Again, you can do it with the tripod, and I'm sure I did, but it's still a require of like, I got to refocus, I got to do this, I got to make sure, and you're just wasting time. So again, I can be run and gun. Yeah. Shooting. All the things.
Well, you can do it this way too, even with an on-camera flash. It's not the prettiest, but if you, like, let's say you're just with a whole bunch of friends, you can just have an on-camera flash with your camera and just, test your lighting with your flash power before it starts. Because this is what I do. Like if I have guests or clients who don't want to be photographed the whole show, they want to be left alone for part of it, but they want their guests to have fireworks photos. Like I can't quickly drag my light across the whole party as they're watching, depending on how many people there are and how tight the space is. So I can just run around with my on-camera flash and get, cute picture of each couple or family as they're watching.
That's actually a good idea too, yeah. A lot of photographers too just use a straight light panel.
Yes.
as opposed to a flash. The other problem I have with light panels sometimes is that like, and videographers obviously need them, which is fine. But sometimes they're so bright that like you're just taking attention. I mean, you can be seen from the other side of theme parks or the other. You're just like, it's okay. Look, I'm over here. The couple's just like,
I know.
Where?
They can't ever see
yeah,
us. Yeah, I tend to use mine mostly, like I have the AD200 has the LED
Yep.
Attachment, so you can take the head off and put the LED attachment on, which is much brighter than the modeling light that it comes with. And so I'll use that for focusing mostly. But it is acting as a fill light
Sure,
too. And then I
absolutely.
have my other AD200 at like 64th
does-
power
it
or
does
something
not need a
really
lot of
low.
power.
Yeah. Because I'm at such a high ISO and wide open aperture. And then I'll have a speed light behind them or a rim light, like a speed light as a rim light if I feel
come
like
and go
I
on
need it.
speed lights. Like I'll do them for a little bit behind them, and then I'll be like, I don't like it anymore. And then I'll shoot some, and I'll be like, it's kind of dark back there. I want some. I'm never like satisfied
Yeah.
when it comes to a light behind them. I like it if I kill the other one for a silhouette photo. So maybe I just need to be more selective. But I do the same thing though. I still put it back there, but I don't always use it. I turn it off a lot.
Yeah.
And then turn it back on. It looks like I have schizophrenia with my photos. It's like on, off, on, off. I don't know.
Well, and it's it's hard too depending on what they're wearing.
Yeah.
Because I've had times where you can't hide a light behind them because they're in a short dress or they're both in pants or it just doesn't work.
Where have you photographed any fireworks outside of Walt Disney World?
Well, on the cruise ships,
Yeah.
they
It's
do
still
fireworks
Disney
show.
World.
It's not Disney World. It's out in the ocean.
It's still Disney.
And then I've had a few weddings where they've had like smaller fireworks displays.
Yeah.
Just whether it's on like private property or whatever the case may be. I'm trying to think. There was one venue that like did fireworks for them on the property, but I only photographed there once. I don't
I
remember
know
what
one.
it is.
It's near Disney World. It's on a lake. I had one there.
Maybe it's the same one.
Yeah.
It's probably the same one.
Probably the same one. They own the whole lake. We shot weddings there together. It's Paradise Cove.
Oh, duh.
They
It
do-
wasn't there.
They do fireworks stuff. The problem though is like, okay, so we get used to Disney. We know the beats. We know when the fireworks are coming because we've seen the show so much. Though when you do have an off wedding that's not on Disney property that does fireworks, they are rare, but you don't know what they're shooting up. Sometimes it's just like what they bought at the tent on July 4th.
Yes.
And sometimes it's professional, but you still don't know
Yeah.
how much. It's not to any music. It's not to anything. It's just booms. So that one, that's why I like to being off the tripod too,
Exactly.
because I need to be able to fire to hopefully get
And be flexible. That's what I was saying before. Like, if you don't know where they're going off
Correct.
perfectly.
or how high they're going to go.
Exactly.
At least at Disney World, I know exactly where each one goes at what point.
See, except now they keep changing the fireworks shows and I am behind.
you
And
need to
I've
catch up.
not watched them as a guest. I have to like pull up YouTube and like watch the show right before I go to work to see if I
They-
can.
They used to take us to the new shows and let us like see them as a
Really?
yeah.
I never got to do that.
I don't think they do it now.
Probably not.
Now it's like YouTube.
Yeah. That's what I had to do because I had two recently with a new fireworks show that I did not know. I didn't even know how long it was. Like I didn't I had to just Google.
That's what we do.
Do the Google. Pull up Tim Tracker's video.
And even then, you don't know. Sponsor us. Even then, you still like on YouTube. It's completely different when you're in there. And we had one the other day where we were shooting at the Swan Reserve, and they photographed because you can see it from the balcony. You can see Epcot's fireworks, and they piped in the music. But I don't know if you're at like the the California Grill, they are piping in the actual live stream music like Disney is, since it's all Disney. Swan, I think the DJ just played the song from like Apple Music because it was not in sync. So like you're waiting for the booms and it was like, where is it? And then, oh God, there it is. So it was just like, it was almost like, just turn this off.
Yeah.
And then the big finale happened and then the music went for another like minute and a half. I was like, oh, okay.
For your listening enjoyment. The last time I photographed a couple with fireworks, we gave them the cues like, oh, when this happens, we're going to tell you to do this. for the grand finale, but they didn't do the grand finale because it was too windy. I'm not sure. I don't know why, but it just ended like 45
happen?
seconds early.
Oh.
Yeah. I was like,
I have a fun story for you.
Yeah.
One time, this was Stephanie and I, we were shooting a wedding, and it was last year during the hurricane. Mm-hmm. And it was like the day after a hurricane. So they were able to still go along with the wedding. But it was still pretty windy. You know how a day after a wedding is still kind of breezy. So the wedding was fine. Everything was normal. But then they had a dessert party at Epcot. So we get to Epcot, and we're like, they got to be doing fireworks, right? And everyone's like, yeah, they haven't said anything. They're doing fireworks. They're still saying they're doing the show. And so we're walking to, and this was Harmonious, the old one before the. Mm-hmm. And so the barges are out there because they're permanently out there, and they were doing announcements. Like, the show starts in 30 minutes. So we're like, okay. And we're down in France. We had that great shot. And then literally like 5 seconds before the show, they were like, tonight's performance will not include fireworks.
It was just the laser.
It was
show.
just the water. No matter, like, Harmonious has like, and the music, it has like nothing.
Oh no.
And so we were like,
it was just like the TV screens that are on the barges.
Yeah. And some water fountains that don't really look that good from far away, not in photos. So we were just like, okay, we've shot this before. So we, took a bunch of photos to get it. And then we had to Photoshop in a ton of fireworks. Well, we didn't do that many photos, but, enough to have some fireworks. Because we have shot it enough that we had the show, luckily. But still.
So here's a question about fireworks. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about lens choice.
Okay.
If you're photographing people with fireworks, what lens do you prefer to shoot on?
I'm doing 24-70 because I want tight and then I want wide. Mm-hmm. And I can't get that usually with the locations we're at with fireworks, that gives me the best range. Mm-hmm. I've shot with 85. I've shot with a 200. I've done 14. I've tried a macro, like a 135 macro to really get some cool bokeh. But in the end, if I need to get it, it's 24-70.
And this is where we talk about the joy of second shooting. Mm-hmm. Because like 2 times ago, I was the second shooter. And so not that it didn't matter what I was getting, but I didn't have the pressure of like, I have to get the shot. And I rarely shoot on an 85. Like if I had to choose, like my favorite lens is 70-200, or on Fuji, the 55-140, which is the equivalent. Like that, if I could choose, that would be on my camera 100% of the time. And so I rarely use an 85. And the lead photographer was like, oh, do you want to shoot on the 85? And I was like, you know what?
Why not?
Why the heck not? It was so fun, and I loved the pictures so much. And they were a great compliment to hers, because she was either on the 14-24 or 24-70, but she was doing mostly wide ones, and then I got, the really tight ones.
I love the 14-24, but I tend to, it's sometimes too far away.
Yeah, it's too much. Unless you're in a really cramped space.
Correct. So, but yeah, like I love the 85 too, but I know that like I need full length, I need tight stuff. So I need to be able to, and 24-70 gives me everything I need for that. Mm-hmm.
Do you have a favorite fireworks picture that you've ever taken? Like,
I'm sure I do. I would have to think about it. Why would you put me on the spot like that? It's right there. Right in the pod. Look at it. It's up there.
So my favorite one was another time when I was second shooting. So again, less pressure, which meant more creative time. And the bride we were at the Grand Floridian. So we were shooting across the lake for the fireworks, which is not the ideal situation because...
And they're never where you think they are.
No.
You're like, castle. So I know they're going to be to the left. Oh, they're over there. Yes. Not even close.
Some are over there. Some are all over there. And the bride didn't... Like, she had taken off her shoes and put on her Minnie Mouse slippers for whatever reason. And I can only take partial credit for the picture because the lead photographer was giving directions on what to do. He had the big wide shot and then I had the tight one, but he had the groom like pick her up and kick her feet up with the Minnie Mouse slippers. And so her dress like cascaded down a little bit. You could see the slippers and then the fireworks in the background. And it was just...
Now, I will say at the Grand is one of the few places, though, you could get a 200.
Yeah,
And
if
it
you go
works.
in the grass with all the mosquitoes and alligators.
That's what I do.
Yep.
You know what comes to mind is a certain wedding that you and I shot that happened to do their first dance in front of the castle, and they had pyro. That's probably up there.
Yep.
Those are some pretty epic photos. That firework photo I talked about earlier, the marketing one I did, that was a good one. And I'm sure I have more. The bride whose groom was puking where the fireworks went up, we talked about in a previous episode.
Yes.
Callback. And he is green. Like literally the shade of your, like so green. You can tell he is sick. That's a great one. Those would come to mind. Just because those were all unique too. I think it's, unique stuff.
My other favorite one, well, I have two more. So one of them, it started torrentially downpouring during the fireworks show, and the patio space that we were on filled with water. So we had a good inch of water, standing water instantly. I mean, it was just one of those monsoon type
And unless
floods.
it's raining or unless it's lightning, fireworks still go.
They kept going.
Yeah.
And the couple was like, we're already wet. Let's just keep going. And so they were dancing and doing all this stuff. But the reflections I was getting in the rainwater,
Yum,
it was
yum.
amazing. It was perfection, because it was a show that had a lot of low, shorter fireworks too, not just really tall ones. And so the reflection of all of those in the water.
All right. I'll allow it.
It was so good. And then I had one other one. This is just a fun story that had to do with fireworks. So it was a birthday party, and it was a woman throwing a birthday party for her girlfriend. And the one throwing the party came up to me and the planner at one point during the party and was like, hey, just so you know, I'm planning on proposing to her. We were going to do fireworks pictures. Should we do it? And I was like, okay, this is when you should do it during this part of the show. And this is what I'll cue you, I'll say to cue you for when to do it. 10 minutes later, the other woman comes up to us and she's like, hey, just so you know, I was planning on proposing to her tonight. When do you think I should do it? And I was like, oh my gosh, you should totally do it. So we told them to propose at the exact same time. So I have a picture of both of them turning around and getting down on one knee at the exact same time during the fireworks show. So it was so cool.
I went you got.
Yeah. And they were they couldn't get over.
You, me, you, me.
And the fact that it stayed a secret, no one accidentally overheard us plotting. Yeah. It was so fun.
I don't think I've had any good besides those ones fireworks moments. They've just been fun, fireworks, big booms.
Yep.
I will say though, let's transfer though into sparklers. It's still technically a firework, right?
It is still.
We'll allow it. All right, so end of the night on most weddings, especially if you're out in a barn somewhere, they want sparkler exits, right? They're all drunk. We're giving them fire. So what do you do? And you have frizzy hair, so what do you? I want to know your safety procedures.
Okay, so basically every time I photograph a sparkler exit, I do it a little differently.
Yeah.
Because I've never found the perfect scenario, and I'm always listening to different photographers talk about how they do their sparkler exits. So I am too nervous to walk with the couple. So I've seen people that do that.
I love it.
I wish I could get over my fear, but I'm...
It's not gonna, it's gonna, your hair will light on fire. It's not gonna burn you though.
No, but you know how clumsy I am when there's daylight and no obstructions in the way. So a lot of these venues too, the path isn't straight that they're doing fireworks. So you're winding around backwards. And so anyways, I'm normally at the end of the tunnel with one of my AD200s with the LED attachment for focus, and then the other one as a light, and then sometimes a third light. So if this is the tunnel, at the door of the venue off to the side as a rim light to just because the problem with the backlight is if you put it in the wrong spot, which I sometimes do, then you're seeing the backlight the whole time they're walking down. And I photograph so many of these weddings by myself, I can't risk messing up.
Fair.
So So normally I have a rim light like up really, really, really high and then just dropping down to give a little bit of like fill light behind them. And yeah, I normally, set my lighting to be the best for the center of the tunnel. And I tell the couple, like, as you get halfway down your group, stop and kiss. And I normally have to tell the people that are standing there when they get to you, yell at them to stop and kiss. Yeah. And I have to.
I'm still going to scream at you to stop and kiss.
Yes. So that's usually, I'm usually at like a 3.2 aperture, 3.6 aperture.
Who calls
16.
Who calls it 3.2?
It is 3.2.
It's 3.2.
Oh, whatever.
It's 2.8. That's how you.
Yeah, but I never say 3.2.
I never used 3.2. I didn't know that was an aperture. I didn't know it went like above or below F4.
Okay, listen. Our podcast does not stand for bullying. Okay,
that's fine.
And then 1600 or 2000 ISO.
The problem is you have to get that balance between lighting them. And then losing your sparklers.
Yes. And I've tried, sometimes I'll have my main light with a grid.
Then they have to be exact, though.
I know.
And they'll never be exact.
That's
They're
what
drunk.
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I like teeter between, and you know what ends up happening a lot of times? I get back and I use my nice linear gradient in Lightroom and darken up the sides and then leave them, or select them as the subject and darken everything else to enhance the sparklers again. So what do you do?
So I'm obviously we're the same person, so I shoot the same way. I walk with them halfway. I like that tight shot of them walking, looking at each other, and then I run halfway through. I run back, get to the same spot you are, and then I have them stop and kiss in the middle and get that wide shot of them kissing in the tunnel. If there's time, and usually a lot of these sparklers, there's enough time, I have them do it twice, and then the second time I will drag my shutter. These are from mine. I will drag my shutter and walk with them to get that kind of like. I don't know.
It looks a little wonky in the background, yeah.
Boho walky, looking. But that's only if there's time, and I'm not, it's one of my weddings.
Yeah. If you're ever talking to couples about sparklers and they're asking you which sparklers to get, make sure you get the really long
biggest ones you can.
Don't get the 6-inch ones because they go out in less than 45 seconds.
Yeah. What's wrong with 6 inches? What? You want, especially because you have to light them all. So the people by the front, by the time it's already out. By the time it gets done. So
I know. It's so stressful when I see, and that normally happens when like the couple purchases their own sparklers and the venue has nothing to do with it.
Correct.
And then they just get these tiny little ones.
Okay, stop saying that. It is normal sized, but you want for this one time you want a large sparkler.
Yes. Yeah. Because then you can do it multiple times.
And
or you have time to let the couple grab sparklers at the end and do a picture holding the sparklers or something like that.
But when you're on the clock with 45 seconds, it's like, go down, kiss, done.
I think we both watched the video where John Branch was talking about how he does sparklers. And I really like that tip. So what he does is, as the couple passes people in the tunnel, he has those people like collapse in behind them so that there's always sparklers behind the couple. Even if you get that tight shot on them, it's not just sparklers on the edges of the frame. Problem again is everyone's drunk.
Yeah,
and it's hard to find the right people to listen.
Who can I trust to do this?
Right.
Not you. Not you.
Because if only one person listens, then you just get like one.
You can't even trust like mom or dad. Like, you got to get the one bridesmaid that has been attentive all day and be like, "Can you do this for me, please?"
And then like pull them with you. Yeah.
All right. I have done the writing with the light writing, which is fun. Like we had the bridesmaids and groomsmen do love with the couple kissing in the middle. That worked out really well. Again, it's a bulb mode. It took 300 photos to do it, and you literally have them like. And here's the trip too: is they have to do it backwards.
Yes, that's what I was going to say.
Learn that the hard way the first time. So if you're doing L, it is not this. It is, and you're doing it just over and over and over.
Yeah. I remember when I first got into photography, I wanted to try to do that. And so I bought sparklers and I made all my friends come out with me. And we did like hearts and we spelled love in like cursive and like just practiced all sorts of stuff. They came out pretty fun.
It's fun. I also like just going around the bride and groom. Like that. That's also fun. But again, usually it just depends because usually it's the end of the night and it's it's done. Rarely are the bride and groom up for it or able to do it.
Yes.
Or the time's is up and I want to go home.
Yeah.
No offense, but I've been 12 hours. Like the war's over.
You haven't eaten.
I'm
You
going
haven't gone
home.
to the bathroom.
Correct.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. That's
So,
fireworks. Did you learn anything?
Yeah.
Probably
Was that
not.
helpful?
Probably
Any other
not.
questions?
Let us know in the comments.
We can follow up.
Yeah.
We're happy to give more information. Unfortunately, that might be all we have, but
Yeah. Just shooting Disney fireworks over and over again.
all right. So we're deep into busy season.
Yeah. If you're going to ask me what I shot, I have to go to my calendar because I cannot keep it straight.
Well, while Jacob pulls up his calendar. Okay. So, I had let me see. I had three freelance weddings this week.
Just wait till next week, my man.
So one of them, it's been a week. One of them, the bride and groom were 90 minutes late coming to the venue.
It's not a big deal, is it?
No, I mean, I only had 2.5 hours planned for getting ready time and then only had an hour to do both of their getting ready pictures. And we were supposed to do portraits of each side, like the groomsmen pictures and the bridesmaid pictures beforehand, which obviously just had to get moved. So I have 800 million pictures of their reception decor because that was the only
many.
thing I could do. And I couldn't even do that because the groom brought some stuff with him. So I only had I had 20 minutes where that was all set up while he was trying to get dressed. But I rushed. You know, we talked about in our timeline episode, like leaving a 30-minute buffer before the ceremony. I used 25 minutes of
All of
my
it.
30-minute buffer beforehand to do getting ready pictures. And I rushed outside 5 minutes before the ceremony was going to start. Got my detail shot of the ceremony. And then I look around and I'm like, the reception is set for 120 and there are 12 people here. So I was like, I'm going to guess that
It's
this
not
isn't
starting on
starting on time. So, and then I had another wedding where the cake was the wrong color.
Not a big deal, right?
Security was called
Shirt. Holy shirt.
because the bride was very upset and just flipped on a dime about how it ruined the wedding, and she was cursing out the catering staff and
Ooh, I haven't had like that in a long
it got
it had to be more to the day than just that set her off, right? That was just what
nope.
topped it.
That was literally the only actual thing wrong to that point.
That's wild. That is wild.
They didn't get kicked out. Nothing actually happened, but security was put on notice. And yeah. And then we were all like, I don't want to talk to her. Do you want to talk? I don't want to talk to her. We were afraid because we couldn't believe how strong of a reaction she had to just it was the wrong shade of a color. It was the correct color, but the wrong shade of that color. And it ruined the dream
of
of
course.
her day. And so
There's
at
no
one
going
point,
back. There's no fix
no, they
can't
couldn't.
you can't bring
it was
him back.
it was too dark. So it's not even like they could darken it.
I'm talking
to
about the
fix
whole
it.
day too though. There's no once you cross that threshold.
Yes. Then it doesn't matter. And then everyone's nervous, and then everyone starts making more mistakes.
Right.
Because we're all on pins and needles. Yes. Oh, so it was the wrong shade. And so, because she was so upset, the catering manager was like, well, would you like me to take it out of the room so that you're not staring at it and, upset the whole time? And then there was a new round of cursing and screaming and how dare you take my cake away from me on my wedding day. And it got very tense. Thankfully, this was like I had already done the majority of my job because it was a sit down dinner. So we did like 5 minutes of pictures before I left and that was it. So that one stood out. Then I photographed another naturalization ceremony at the courthouse. So these are new American citizens. And the judge stayed and took pictures with each of them. So that was really fun. And then I had a family portrait. So I love working with this family. They have a beautiful home with like a stone fountain out front. And then like in there, they have a courtyard with like a spiral staircase and a pool with a bridge over it. Like,
what's their job? Can you do that?
I know.
They probably don't do photography podcasts, do they?
I don't think so. But their home
this is a house we found. Like, we're just crashing in this place. It's not even ours.
Don't tell the owners.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so like their house is beautiful and they have 2 little kids who are so cute. And the mom was like, I was really going for casual this year. And I'm looking around and the daughter is in like a party dress and the son is in a blazer and mom's in like a full length, like a maxi dress.
There's no relaxed or calm when it's a marble staircase and like, it's casual.
It's casual, but
nope.
But it was cute. We had the kids leave their shoes off and they were like snuggled up on the outdoor furniture and like just sitting by the pool or whatever. So yeah, it was really fun. Yeah. When you get to photograph, and it was like perfectly at sunset, so the lighting was good.
And it's a family photograph before.
Yeah.
So like you're already in the like there's already the connection there.
Yeah. And like referencing like, oh, last year we did this. Can we do different things? And like being on the same page with them.
Those are your best clients.
Yeah. So I mean, it was a light week for a busy season.
I wanted to about your bride though, because people ask me all the time. They're like, "Oh, like what's like the worst story?" Like bridezillas. And I'm like, honestly, in what is this? 13 years we've been doing this. I don't really have that many bridezilla stories. Like they just don't happen anymore. Like I've had a couple where they were, but that is like your story is wild. Like I've never had a full on meltdown, ruin the day kind of thing.
I've had a few.
Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just you.
Maybe it is just me. It wasn't though. I wasn't the only person there, and I wasn't the one. It wasn't me they were mad at. I was just witnessing.
But still, you're still there.
Yeah, like I've never had one during the day where like the anger was towards me. I've just had other things, and I'm always the witness, and I'm always the one like. Seeing them get upset about something and then trying to go to whatever vendor and be like, oh, hey, just letting you know, this is what you just said. Like, can we fix something? Can we do something?
I've had like their same idea where like maybe they hated their cake, but not like that. And I didn't know it. But then they kind of got mad when they got their photos back because they saw the cake they hated again, to which I'm like, what do you want me to do? Right. It was your cake.
There were questions about whether I could Photoshop the cake to be the correct color, and I was like, no, not my because I'm never going to get it right.
Correct.
Not my job.
You're just going to make it worse. Just it's a documentary. It is what it was.
Yeah. I've had things come back afterwards where they're upset about photography. Honestly, not usually the client. It's usually the mom.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Moms are always the problems I have.
Yeah, it's not typically the client, but I've had moms, mother-in-laws, like just...
You didn't get the photo of the second, fifth cousin removed. That wasn't there.
Like
How come we didn't get a photo of them?
I did everything that was on the list. I asked 17 times during the day, is there anything else you need?
Yeah.
Or like I've had things like she just seemed like she was stressed about time the whole day and she was rushing us.
I was.
Well, you were late and it's not like I'm rushing you for the sake of rushing you. I'm up against constraints. Like I'm trying to accomplish what you asked me to accomplish and stick with when the church ceremony starts, when the party's supposed to start, when the venue's expecting you.
You're going to be mad.
Right. Like, there's only so much I could do.
All right.
So, what did you do this week?
All right. I also had a family portrait, very similar to yours. In fact, it's a family I photographed multiple times, and it's become now almost a yearly, almost twice yearly thing. So we did it though at Mead Garden because they live out near Winter Park, so they wanted to because we've done it at places, houses now. So it was a great photo shoot. Tiny little kids. But the last time, you know, was a baby, and now she's like 1-2 years old. So it's getting to be fun where she can actually run around. So I had that. I also had a long day where I did a Universal with Stephanie. So, you know, 7 a.m. at Universal, we did the whole 2 parks, photographed for like 4 hours in between those with a couple who had just gotten married, but we didn't shoot the wedding. I think they just flew down, like they got
Just
married
to do.
somewhere else. They came down on vacation and they wanted to do basically a bridal portrait at Universal. And then right after that, I then had to go to a vow renewal wedding. And let me tell you something. I love vow renewals. I will say this every day. I think it was 15 years, you know, a couple of kids. And the kids are just old enough to be, you know, behaved enough that, you know, they're not teenagers, but they're also not running around like. But I love vow renewals because they know what they want, and they actually want to just party and have a good time.
Yeah, they just want to do what they want.
Correct.
And then they want to enjoy their
And
guests.
they want family photos, but they don't need all the family photos. They just want them, couple with the kids. If the parents are still there, done. And it was already 20 people, the whole thing anyway, so it wasn't a big deal. It was at the boardwalk at Seabreeze Point. So at sunset, so it was gorgeous, and we walked to Epcot, and then we did fireworks. They actually had it was a dinner, but like a dessert party. Like it was like dinner with like finger foods, but like that's what Disney does best is like all the good finger snacks.
Yeah, like
for your meal.
it's just a celebration. Like
Correct.
appetizer, cake,
Yep.
dessert celebration.
So, you know, we did that and did some fireworks photos. And then the best part is I ran into, if you know we were in the France island. I never know what, there's like 3 different French in France. Epcot, France, not
Not real France.
not France.
Unfortunately.
But we were in the big one because they had no other events. So even though it was only like 20, 25 people, we had the entire island. And then they even had the down below portion where we could go for fireworks because nobody was there. And so we were there a little earlier because we have to photograph. We photographed the place, waiting for the couple and the family to be brought in. So we're just sitting there, and like I heard some so you can kind of see people up on the bridge, and they all like look at you, and they're always like, you can hear them just like, oh, what's going on? But like you can't really see because there's bright lights shining on you. And I thought I heard like some shouting, but it's a theme park,
Right.
So I didn't think anything of it, and I was talking with my second. And then all of a sudden, like I get a DM, and it was a past bride, and she was like, "Oh, I saw you down there. I was screaming at you." And I was like, "What?" And she was like, "Oh, we went by." I was like, "No, come back!" Like I didn't know. There's no way. So they came back, and it was a bride and groom that I had photographed. Well, it was right before COVID, so 2018, 2019. And I love this couple, and they have a little girl who, you know, I haven't seen since, because last time I saw them, they were married. So it was so great seeing them. I'll post the photo. We'll send the photo. But, yeah, it was so great seeing them. We talked for like, the bride and groom showed up, and I'm like talking to them for like, felt like 30 minutes. It was probably only like 10 minutes. But just catching up and seeing them. And then we did fireworks, which is ironic because that's what we just talked about.
Yeah.
And that was my weekend. I also had some meetings. I had a bride meeting that was earlier in the week. It was over Zoom. And then I also met up with Amanda because I had to give her a bunch of gear for the crew, one of the cruises that we'll probably talk about in a future episode. These we do marketing photos for these themed cruises. And they do one over Halloween, and I did it one time, and that cruise wasn't my cup of tea. So I didn't really want to do that one again. Plus, it's over Halloween, and I got kids, and Halloween's a big deal. And I had jobs, too.
Yeah.
So she asked if she could borrow some gear. Some old, since they shoot Nikon still, and I still have all my old Nikon gear. I let her borrow some of that stuff.
Yeah, so Amanda we know from Disney.
Correct.
And she's since left Disney. And one of the big things she does is these like themed photographs, these themed cruises. So I've been on one with her too.
Yep.
I know you've done
I've done a
a
lot.
lot of them. I just did one. And then, yeah, she specializes in newborn and maternity.
Yeah.
So newborn is something I don't do. So anytime someone calls me and they want like the cute squishy pictures with the babies and their hands under their faces, I'm like, call Amanda.
I tried one time, and it was with a couple that I've photographed everything with, so they were adamant about it, and I was like, I really don't do it. And I got some cute stuff, but it's never like what they have and the way they do it, and I was just like, never again.
No, I'm like, if you want to be holding your baby, if you want just cute pictures of all of you together in the nursery, call me.
Correct.
If you want the cute squishy posed ones with all the different outfits and the baskets and everything,
And the naked baby butt.
that is not my specialty.
Pass.
They will not be good.
I'm a little afraid, though, in the next coming weeks, the next podcast, what are...
We're going to just look more and more tired.
Because there is coming up where I have 8 weddings in 11 days. 8 full weddings.
I know. I'm
8.
right there with you.
So
I know.
The whole podcast will just be what we shot this week.
Suddenly it's a 15-minute segment of just, well, and then I did this one, and then I did this one.
But it is Christmas time.
It is.
We're in the holiday season.
Yes.
So, the non-photography corner, right?
Yes. Pop culture.
What's your favorite holiday movies?
Okay, so we're going to do top 3,
Top
right?
3.
Okay. I'm going to cheat a tiny bit.
Okay. I had to write it down.
Okay.
I know my one, but
How did you have to write this down?
because I have a lot. I like holiday movies.
Okay, I do too, but there are like 3 standouts.
Okay. Do you have any honorable mentions?
Well, I'm cheating already, so I won't.
Okay.
You'll see what I mean.
Go ahead.
Okay, so number 3 is the Home Alone series.
Series. Okay.
All the Home Alone movies.
Even number 4? And 3?
Okay, Home Alone 1 and 2, okay?
And 5?
Specifically Home Alone 1 and 2.
Did you see the one on, I think it was on Netflix, with like, I think Kimmy Schmidt was in it, the girl who played Ellie Kemper, and then Buzz from... Yeah, and the girl, the Home Alone is a girl, and it has nothing to do with it, but Buzz, the older brother, is a cop, so it's in the universe.
I didn't watch it, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it was not good.
I don't think it was.
Spoiler.
Would be.
It was not good.
No, I mean, that's just like a classic.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's quotable. I was with my family for something, and it was like an extended family sort of situation, like family of family. And so we left, and my sister was like, "Okay, so who was the guy that was in the back that looked like the guy from Home Alone?" And we use it in daily conversation.
Fair enough.
So do you have honorable mentions? Do you need to get those in
Yeah,
now?
I do.
Along with your number 3?
So, Die Hard, is it a Christmas movie?
Yes.
Okay. Then it would be an honorable mention. I don't think it's a Christmas movie, but I allow it to be in the Christmas conversation.
It's a Christmas movie.
The Santa Claus. Definitely there. Only number 1. I could care less about the other ones. But the first one I enjoy a lot. Sometimes I still quote like, "I sleep naked. Buck naked." And I was like, "Sorry, ma'am. Sister Mary."
Normally I sleep naked. Buck naked. Ah! Morning, Mr. McGloin. Or Catherine.
Muppet Christmas Carol.
Oh,
Because that one is fantastic. And Michael Caine, like, "Hey, you're going to act against a bunch of Muppets, so keep it loose and goosey." And he's like, "No, I'm going to go for an Academy Award. I'm going to play this hard." And I know you'll hate this, but Elf. Honorable.
I mean, I'm glad it's getting an honorable mention.
Honorable mention. Honorable mention.
Okay.
Okay, so number 3.
Now, what's your number 3? I already did my number 3.
Oh, that's right. My number 3 is, I'm doing this because it's probably the only new movie that has ever worked on Christmas, and it's really recent.
Okay.
I really liked it. Spirited. The Ryan Reynolds, Will Ferrell, Apple TV Christmas movie. You need to see it.
You don't
It's
have
a
Apple
Christmas
TV.
musical. I'll let you log in for one.
Okay.
It came out like in 2020, 21, maybe during that time too when we needed you know, something. It's hilarious because, again, it's Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell. It's sad. It's Christmas. There's some really good music. It's funny. I don't know. It's become, we've watched it every year now.
That's fun.
Spirited.
Cool.
Some big twists in it that bring you back to old school movies. Like, very fun movie. And so just because like there's not been any good new Christmas movies, that's why it's going to number 3.
Okay.
It probably would be an honorable mention, but I'm going
But
Spirited.
for the recent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So my number 2 is the Santa Claus series.
So it's your top 400.
really the first and second one. So I guess I really had like a top 5.
Yeah.
But yeah, the first one, I mean, there was a point in our childhood where every Thanksgiving there was a new holiday movie coming out, and that became part of our Christmas or our like Thanksgiving tradition. We'd have Thanksgiving, and the next day or like that weekend we would go see the new Christmas movie that was out, whether it was like The Grinch or the Santa Claus or whatever. But then the Santa Claus, especially the first and second one, those are like regular repeats. Every year have to watch it. And again, part of our daily vernacular, like just yesterday I said, cut the chit chat chat to my sister.
Cut the chit chat chat.
So, I mean, and we talked about this earlier, like Home Improvement was like a staple TV show. So Tim Taylor being in it.
There's been a couple
Tim
times. Tim Allen. He's Tim Taylor. It's fine.
Being in it, like, it was just a staple.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my number 2.
I still go with like Papa Gijo. Father Christmas. Father Noel. Oh, I've definitely gone to my wife sometime and go, does this look like a little way to you?
Does this look like a little way to you?
So it is very quotable.
It is. All right.
My number 2 is, it's already on your list, so it's a crossover, but it's very specifically, it's Home Alone 2. In terms of Christmas, now we watch both during Christmas holiday, but I find Home Alone 2, this is going to sound weird, but more Christmassy. Because the city's all decked out, the snow, I know since Home Alone takes place in the house, it's still Christmassy,
right?
But I find Home Alone 2 to be more Christmassy. They play more Christmas music, you know, just general BGM music. So in terms of, and I tend to like it better than Home Alone 1.
I just watched part of it like 2 days ago.
Oh, we watched it as well already. Because our tree is already up. And we watched my number 1 as well. And then we watched Home Alone 2 as well. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, I know you've been dying to know what my favorite Christmas movie is.
I have no idea.
Okay. So it's Elf. For those of you just listening, I'm wearing a Son of a Nutcracker t-shirt.
It is.
It's very subtle. But yeah, I mean, we talked with like my favorite TV shows. I'm a big fan of the Deschanel sisters. So
She's quirky.
So she's in it. I'm not a huge Will Ferrell fan, like it across the board, but I love him in this, and it's just such a good story. I actually watched it yesterday, and I was on a plane, so I had closed captions on, and I was like, I don't even really need this. I could just quote the whole movie. But yeah, it gets recorded. My dad keeps an eye out, and he records it like on his DVR whenever it plays, so that it's ready when we come home at Thanksgiving.
You could
watch it.
just buy it for him. Okay.
But this is easier.
All right. Do you really want to watch it on TBS?
Gets it fast forward. Yeah. So I didn't know if I should wear this shirt because I knew we'd be talking about holiday movies. I don't know if I should wear this one, or I had a few others I could choose from. So I had this one that says OMG Santa.
You sit on a throne of lies.
And then I have this one. Bye, buddy. Hope you find your dad. I also have this one. Santa, I know him. And then this one. Raised by Elves.
Call me Elf one more time.
Call me Elf one more time.
One more time.
It's a weird movie for me where, like, I never saw it in theaters, so I didn't see it when it was, like, hyped. So, like, I kind of watched it later on, and I was like, oh, it's cute. But, it grows on you more. You know, because I came from, like, Anchorman, you know, Will Ferrell. So this was kind of like, what?
Yeah, I didn't really like watch a ton of Will Ferrell stuff
Yeah.
before this. This was like in my head. This is Will Ferrell.
It's probably the last recent holiday movie that has actually done well, and it's like 20 years old now.
I almost looked up how old these movies were,
Don't.
but then I was like, you know what? It doesn't matter.
Watch Spirited. You may be happily, especially if you're a musical theater dork like I am. My number one, and everyone that knows me knows this. It's National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
What if I told you I've never watched
Then
that?
I want. We'll cut that out.
We probably won't.
It's the greatest Christmas movie of all time.
I just
Like 90% of my quotes throughout the year are still like, especially on weddings. Like I quote it for everything.
I mean, I've seen bits and pieces,
Yeah.
but I've never sat down to watch the whole movie.
I've already watched it once, and it's not even Christmas time yet. We'll probably end up watching it 5 or 6 times. Like it still holds up. It still is great, even though, you know, it's from 1989. But like for most part, like there's nothing about it that screams like it's super old besides it just looks a little old now. But my God, is it, I mean, every single moment is laugh out loud funny.
Maybe I will try to watch it this holiday.
Well, you have 2. You got to watch Spirited and Christmas
Yeah.
Vacation.
Can I get some logins?
I own it, so I'll give it to you.
Okay.
I own it like digitally, everywhere, like
On VHS.
physically. Yeah. It's the one I will watch the most. We will watch it. Like it's tradition. We put up our tree. We watch it. We'll watch it again when we're doing something. We'll watch it on Thanksgiving. I don't care. I
Very
can't
fun.
believe you've never seen it.
I'm sorry.
Before we go, and I know this is a long one though, what is your feelings on Nightmare Before Christmas? Is it a Halloween movie or is it a Christmas movie?
Ooh, I mean, to me, if there's any appearance of any Santa Claus figures or twinkle lights or Christmas trees, it's a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
But
I don't watch it on Christmas though. It's not a Christmas movie to me.
it's like an excuse to start Christmas early.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a Halloween movie to me. I don't watch I don't watch it during Christmas,
No, I don't watch it during Christmas, but I don't
but people consider it a Christmas movie.
watch it. It's not like a repeat movie for
Yeah,
me.
that's true.
So
Yeah. Right.
to me, actually, even though it's not, they're not like the Harry Potter movies feel like, you know, they always do like the ABC Family does their like countdown to Christmas
Yeah.
movie marathons or whatever, and
But
those are always on it.
because there's a tree.
Because
or like-
because there are Christmas scenes, but I wouldn't say they're Christmas movies, but like I watch them during the holiday season.
Okay, I know how we're gonna end this.
But we don't know how to end.
Oh, I know how to end this.
Okay. I'm very scared. I was not informed of what would be happening.
I need your Wi-Fi.
Oh no.
All right, this is how we're gonna. Just bye. We're gonna watch this.